Amanda Serrano is about that 12 round, 3-minute rounds life. I'm calling it the 12 times 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, 12 by 3 life, she says. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what she says. So we have a guest here who's going to argue in favor of this. Maybe Nancy agrees with him. I don't know. What's going on, HLD?
Buenas noches, mi gente. What's going on, Dista? Hola, Nancy.
Hola, buenas noches. Nice surprise. Welcome.
Thank you.
So what's going on, brother? You know the commission, you know the WBC. You know they're not going to do 12 rounds. You know they're not going to do 3 minutes. Like, you know, and Serrano knows that. You know that.
No, you don't know that. You could submit anything to any of the sanctioning bodies and get what you want if you want it. Especially when you're the top person in the game, in women's boxing especially. So yeah, she could have. They could have. If they would have agreed, they could have. Now, was it a demand? It wasn't a demand. It was a request to try to put a bigger spotlight on women's boxing. She wanted to make history. She thought that it was the right platform, it was the right time. They're gonna fight in MSG. She said it. She explained it very eloquently why she thinks it's the time to make it happen. It was a request. It wasn't a demand. But yeah, she would be about that life. That's what people who are at the top of the food chain do. They push the limits. They want to break barriers, and she's about that. It's nothing. I heard the word posturing. No, man, this woman is not Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia. This woman is the top of the top, and she's not blowing smoke on anybody.
I'd be curious to see. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say really quick. So she's never requested 12 rounds. She's never requested 3 minutes. Like none of the two. She didn't request it during the negotiations of this fight. Both times they negotiated. Even the first time it was made, this time that it was official, never requested. Didn't request it after the first press conference. But all of a sudden, she just out of the blue requested it. Now, you could say didn't demand it. Fair enough. But I think it was a way of making her look good and making people side-eye, like Katie Taylor, like, well, what's up, Katie? You know? But now Katie's expected to do something that Clarissa Shields hasn't done, Leila Ali didn't do, Kristen Martin didn't do, and they were considered great fighters. Like, everybody calls Clarissa Shields the GOAT, right? But she never had to do, 3 minutes, 12 rounds. Serrano never done 3 minutes, 12 rounds. But now Katie Taylor's expected. And there is people now saying, oh, Katie's scared. She doesn't want any part of Serrano for 12 rounds.
She doesn't. I mean, she could have.
So what I was going to say is, I'm curious. I'm curious. Let me share this with you. So I'm just curious if she has, like, in sparring, in training, made that attempt.
This I can tell you. The woman spars men only. So yeah, she about that life, and whatever the challenge is. I mean, she's a 7-time division champion. Yeah, she's never been undisputed at 135. Well, guess what? She's going for it. So because it hasn't been done before, you don't try it. And guess what? After this fight, God willing, she beats her. She's gonna go for something else even bigger. But that's her pushing her limits. That's what an alpha athlete does, or anybody who's an alpha in any dominating, especially in sports position. They challenge themselves.
I'll tell you this. So if I had to choose who could make it through the 12 rounds, 3 minutes, I am going for Amanda. I would go for Amanda, especially what I saw from Katie. Now, not to take away from Katie. So, y'all, don't get started with me. I'm not taking away from Katie. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, if this happened, ya sé, because luego la gente comienza que, oh my gosh, you hate her. No, I'm just saying what we saw of Katie in the Sharapova fight, in some of those later rounds, I do feel like we saw her, like, huffing and puffing a bit, right? And I thought that was a really good fight. I thought that was a good fight for Sharapova because she put on a really, really good show. But when I look at Amanda, and not that I've been, again, women's boxing, I've been following just, the past couple years, not like historically, but what I have seen of Amanda, I think that she would most definitely, from a stamina perspective, outbox Katie in a 12-round 3-minute. That's just my boxing fan opinion. I haven't sat there and done any type of film watching analysis. Yes, I mean, I know.
On paper, you would actually think it benefits Taylor to have accepted the challenge, which I think she should have, regardless whether the sanctioning bodies. You don't back down from a challenge. That's me. And I don't know, maybe it's the world I come from, it's the way you grew up in the gym. That's when you were in competitive. You don't back down from a challenge. Yeah. You think you can whoop me on? Let's do this. Now,
she's not backing down from a challenge. She's literally going to fight her April 30th.
No, the challenge of what she was challenged on, which was to go 12-3, right? So that's the challenge in itself. Now, on paper, you think it would actually benefit Taylor. Out of her 20 fights, 14 of them have gone the distance. Well, guess what? Serrano, out of her 42 fights, 30 of them have been stopped. So she actually has less rounds, if you will, than Taylor has going long distance. So, I mean, yeah, I think it would have benefited Taylor to see if she could gas her out, because she's been through all 10 rounds every fight. Well, Amanda hasn't.
It's look, it's like this, right? If I challenge you to a game of 21, right, and you accept, and we tell the whole world, hey, me and HLD, we're going to play a game of 21, right? And then, like, when we're, like, promoting it, right, this terrible game of basketball you and I are going to have, right? When we're promoting it, out of nowhere, you say to me, you know what? 21, we should play up to 45. Let's do it.
Game.
Right? Now I'm going to say, dude, you agree to a game of 21. Okay? Whoever gets 21 first wins. That's what I would tell you. I'm just going to keep it honest.
Okay.
100. Because people play 21 all the time in the courts, and they never change the rules because somebody wants to, think they're all that. Like, if Amanda was about that life, she ain't about that life. Because if she was, she would have already been fighting 3-minute rounds. She hasn't been doing that.
So she used this platform to be vocal about. I think she's using the platform. Oh, go ahead, HLD.
I'm sorry, I think my internet cut off. Sorry.
You're cutting off a little there, brother.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
There you go.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good.
I am sorry. I don't know if I interrupted you guys. I was talking. I didn't hear you guys. This past week, we just had a guy choose 10-ounce gloves on fight week. So not everything is cemented in stone at the table. They're not even in training camp. I mean, it's not like last minute deal. It's not they're at the, and that's it. I'm sorry. She challenged her. The girl bet now, I think, is that, did it look bad on Taylor? I think so. It absolutely did. You don't back down from a challenge. That's me. And especially if you're the undisputed, you're the king of the division, you're not going to have a challenger.
The queen.
Right. Oh, yeah. The queen. I'll punk you. I'm sorry. You just don't allow that to happen.
You really think like she got in her head like this is a mind game? And you think so?
It's a little bit of everything, maybe.
I mean, I just think like it's just something she said, knowing that nothing's going to change. I think that's what it was. And I'll say this: every culture is different. Some cultures are just kind of like blunt and forward, like no, we're not going to do that, and they're not even thinking about the mind games or what are people going to think. And I think that's just how Taylor thinks. Like Katie Taylor strikes me as just like an honest person, and she just said like, no, we're not going to do that. We already agreed to how we're going to fight.
So I see it. I also see it as, if in all seriousness, right? Now that we're talking about it, I'm just thinking it's a bit of a missed opportunity, really, because this would have been the ideal platform. You already have, Jake Paul, who was fighting through whatever he had to fight through to make this happen and get it done. This could have been that moment where this whole, 3-minute debate could have finally been done. But I think that that's what you do, at the signing per se. Right. I think if you're talking about it now, so you're right, HLD. So there are situations where like the glove situation, maybe, it's already a done deal, but they do some type of amendment to it. I don't know how that works. But I think it's a little late in the game to like make this happen. It was kind of a missed opportunity. If they wanted it, and in all seriousness, they could have done it. Like this would have been the fight and platform for it. If anything, at least in this platform, her making that comment, it's now making it a topic. It's been a topic of conversation, but now because of the visibility, it's just making it that much more of a topic. You know what I'm saying?
Here's what the issue I have now. Right? Everyone's questioning Katie. Right? Now her toughness is being questioned, her greatness is being questioned, her accomplishments are being questioned. People are saying, "Oh, I don't think Katie has got it." Right?
I haven't.
When every woman, including Clarissa Shields, Ann Wub, Layla Ali, Christine Martin, every single one of them, okay, never had to do this, like ever, and Amanda's never done it. Right, so people keep saying, "Oh, Amanda, the stamina this, the stamina that." Look, Katie Taylor went hard, okay, against a current welterweight champion, Jessica McCaskill, who's a lot bigger than Amanda Serrano. Right, not as good, but she's a lot bigger, right, and beat Breakus for that matter. So I don't think Katie has anything to prove to anybody. Okay, right now, unless the rules of boxing change for everybody, she shouldn't have to conform to some random challenge from Amanda Serrano. That's my opinion.
When you got greatness staring at you from side to side, you want to, and amongst everybody else, you want to have that difference above everybody else. Mm-hmm. This would be the moment for either Taylor or Serrano to separate themselves from anybody else. The undisputed fight in Madison Square Garden at full men's style, 3-minute rounds, 12 rounds for a championship fight. How much great? They would have been the first two at that. Mm-hmm. It's historic. That's how greatness is established. That's how greatness is you break through. You got to be different. You got to want more. And that's it. But hey, she was a demand. She said it eloquently on stage. It was a request. She put it on Twitter. Hey, it's it was just a request. I thought it was the right time. That's it.
Amanda's Amanda's a slick one. Like she comes off as innocent. Like well, I've never had a boyfriend and all this other stuff, right? Like she comes off as innocent and she never means. But she'll put a post up and it's like, and maybe it is all by I don't know, but she'll put a post up and be like, oh, this girl, she was such a warrior. But like she'll post like an embarrassing picture of the girl she beat up. You know what I mean? Or like she'll be like, oh yeah, she was a tough Mexican girl. She looks all like fucked up in the middle of the picture, like while she's getting punched. And then like with this thing, she's like, oh no, I mean, I was just saying that if she wanted to do it, but if she don't want to do it, it's okay. It just comes off as like, yeah, poor little Katie doesn't want to do it. Like, bro, she's gonna fight you.
She's still an alpha. You don't get it. She's still a dog. She's gonna be boisterous. Yeah, she's gonna be a little bit more, maybe some would call it cringe. Yeah, because she is on top of the food chain.
You want to break barriers? Win gold medals like Katie Taylor. You want to break barriers? Become undisputed like Katie Taylor. You want to break barriers? Beat the best in your division like Katie Taylor. You want to break barriers?
Okay, your argument is because you're a fan of Taylor somehow more than what it is.
Oh, look, and be the first woman to make 7 figures. You want to break barriers, be the first woman to get another woman to make 7 figures with you. That's what Katie Taylor did, and I think she deserves more respect than what she's being given right now, in my opinion.
Well, by those who are going to discredit anything that she did, that's lunacy. It has nothing to do with that. This is a one-on-one challenge.
You're taking her to court for something that no woman's ever done or has been expected to do. Think about that.
So you sit on your hands and you just, okay, I'm good. This is good enough.
No, you do it like this. There's ways to legislate because they're not going to do it. The way to do it is you got to make sure that the sanctioning bodies, that convention or something like that, change their mindset. We already had Mauricio Suleiman saying we will not change the rules of boxing because women get concussions faster than men. Like he's already said that. They're not going to do it.
I say money talks, and at this platform, and if they
She
have
wants to
both
be the
agreed,
alpha, like the alpha
if
cat and all this.
yeah,
Okay,
well,
you got your
yeah,
opportunity. You got your
I
opportunity.
think what we all agree on, I think what we all agree on though is that it is that missed opportunity, right? So
it
like
is.
yeah, like
I don't agree
to
with that. Like,
well, I mean a missed opportunity at least to have started off. It is a monumental fight, you know, and to add this to it. That I mean, this would have been it. This would have been the fight to do it in, and but you know, here we are. But it's gotten the conversation started, right? So not started,
Hey,
it's been had, but at least now in this platform, you know,
right.
it's being talked about and looked at. So now though, so let's think about this. So she, you know, called her out. You know, I think we're all going to assume this is not going to happen. But
It's
then
just
what's going to happen for Amanda's next fight then? So then
At
the
because
next
140,
fight
that's where it's gonna
is
happen.
well, and then
um
so the next opponent, so
right.
Amanda's next opponent, right, is going to be like, okay, right, querías the 12-3, vámonos.
Yeah, but here's the
Now
thing.
this
Like,
is going to hunt her, not hunt her, but do you know what I'm
is
saying? Like now every
she
opponent's going to be bringing
about?
this up.
How can you be about that 12-3 life when you never fought a 12-3? You never requested a 12-3. You never even talked about it. You never an advocate for it. Nothing. All of a sudden, in the middle of a press conference, she just did it for posturing. But HLE, I'll give you the last word on this before we move on and let you go, brother.
Yes, I don't think it's posture. I just think it's just an alpha wanting to go for greatness, and that's that. That's what I can take at it from her. You know. As for Taylor, well, I mean, I'm sorry. You'll never hear the alphas in any other sport back down from challenges. You're not gonna hear the MJs, the Kobe's, or the Brady's or the Gretzky's or any other athlete on the top of the food chain back down from any challenge. Whether then they approve it or not, then let the politics take care of that. But you don't back down from a challenge. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
So yeah, so meaning like she should have answered back in one way, shape, or form.